Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Welcome, everyone, to this presentation of Living Alone and Connected. We're going to talk about art therapy and its benefits for cognitive health. So, I wanted to ask the group, and so I'll ask you, Catherine,
Mhm.
what you know about art therapy. Have you had any personal experience with it, either your own or a family member or a friend? What comes to mind?
Yeah.
Your
You
art
know, it's
therapy.
Yeah, right. It was interesting that I was lucky to see this presentation in advance, and I thought art therapy was strictly visual arts and drawing, and then I realized that it can be more expansive and more broad than that, and it can be just sort of creative art, which encompasses a lot. When I was a kid, I kind of remember going to like Color Me Mine. I don't know if you heard of
Mm-hmm.
that, but like that was sort of the start of just like the very basics of getting to do a form of art and really loving it. And I did some art classes when I was a kid too, and just being like amazed by what I was actually able to create because I didn't think I was a particularly good visual artist. And as an adult, I've popped into a couple, um, group courses, or we've been able to paint something and um, socialize, which has been really lovely. And then I've also did one where we got to create our own paint rocks, and it was very meditative. So I've had
Nice.
little, it's all been sort of visually art based.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've done a lot of different art in my life, but it wasn't so much therapeutic. It was just like, like a dance
Hmm.
class or something, which is still therapeutic. But
Right.
yeah, I always would leave it feeling calmer
Mhm.
and kind of more grounded in myself. And it is sort of empowering because it's self-expression. And that it just
Right.
was a lovely experience. Just talking about it, I want to do more of
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
I know. I'm
excited
like,
to learn
oh,
more.
I want
Yeah,
to color me mine.
I know. Yeah. But
We went there
how
in
about
college.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have similar, did a lot of different, I guess, art classes in college or high school and always enjoyed. I always loved art. And I did Color Me Mine, and it was always fun to go with friends. Like we went in college and we would just have a lot of laughs. And that was before like you could even do wine at those places. I know now
Right.
there's like painting with a twist, and I have yet to do that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, but a lot of similar experiences. I have this vague memory of like I think it was like a pottery class, or it might have been actually, I think it was like a birthday party when I
Mm.
was 6 or 7 because we still lived in New Jersey at the time. So I know it was like pre-Pennsylvania. And I think somebody had a birthday party at like a Color Me
Mhm.
Mine before there were Color Me Mines. It was just like a
Right.
mom and pop
Yeah.
place. And I just have this vague remembrance of like being in the back, like looking at the shelves where the stuff went after it was fired in the kiln. And yeah, it just stuck with me. I don't know. So, and my husband's dad is an artist and taught some
Mm.
visual or not visual arts, I guess, pottery and hands-on kind of arts, jewelry. He's a jeweler.
Wow.
He made our wedding bands. So
Oh,
he's got a lot of like hands-on fine work like that and pottery. And he taught at a art school that was associated with the Y in his community with the YMCA
cool. Yeah.
and taught there for a while, some different classes. So yeah, a lot of different experiences. But the first time I think that I really actually did art therapy was my daughter did it. We
Mm.
had an art therapist come in and work with my daughter. I think it was every other week while I was
Wow.
while I was going through my cancer treatment. And so
Wow.
I wanted her, she's always been interested in art and good at art, and it always was a good way of getting her to express things that she couldn't do verbally or otherwise. And so yeah, that was always fun. And we used to have a pool table in our basement. We don't have it anymore, but that's like where they would set up all their canvases and paints
Oh, nice.
on,
Oh, that's
on top
perfect.
of the cover. But yeah, but that was actually officially art therapy. And I think that was part
Wow.
of my first like real hands-on close
That's
connection.
really cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited to learn more. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
So this is a quote that I thought was really good and also applies to to the group here as we talk about brain health. And I'm just going to read it. It's from a registered art therapist, and the article that the quote comes from is right here, making sure we cite and source things properly. Um, Someone may find that describing an emotion becomes easier when expressed by assigning it artistic qualities. This is because language processing, creative thinking, and emotional processing all involve different parts of the brain. Art therapy helps integrate these brain structures to help bridge the gaps between these processes. And that I think is just so interesting and makes so much sense, like why you feel calmer after you've done some kind of art, or why you feel
Right.
empowered, or you know, or the creative expression is empowering, and problem solving, creative thinking. I mean, yeah, and just thinking of those three different parts of the brain that each of those processes go with, and art is a way of bringing them all together. I just think is so cool to think of it that way. And I think people that maybe haven't done any kind of art or don't think of themselves as an arty person or an artist, I think this just shows that we all have that ability in our brains and in our wiring. And it's not just, oh, I'm just going to paint this pretty picture. There are things happening in your brain and processes that are going on when you're creating something,
Yeah.
no matter what it looks like when you're done. So,
And I
uh,
think too,
yeah,
because it doesn't necessarily involve language, that
yeah,
quiet state, and it's so creative and it's
mhm,
so active, but it's very kind of
absolutely.
the quiet can allow you to really explore a lot.
So true. For me, I mean, I'm a writer, so I use a lot of words for my art, I guess, or poetry, but in
Right.
a way, I feel that I'm most creative in my writing when I'm writing poetry, and it is sort of a quieting down because you're distilling lots of words into just very, and also the idea of describing an emotion becoming easier when expressed by assigning it artistic quality.
Yes.
I have written some rage poems, I will say, and sometimes I'm surprised by how much rage comes out onto the page, but it's in
Right.
there, and art, whichever form you choose, helps you access that. So,
Yes. That's
uh,
awesome.
yeah. So, okay, how does art improve cognition? And I'm just going to move our little faces so that I can see the
Oh
whole
yeah.
thing. So it reduces stress. We've already sort of talked about that. Improves focus, processes emotions, improves communication skills. I mean, for me, if I'm having like this jumble of words in my brain and I can like get out a poem, it sort of helps, you know, it improves communication skills. It gets that tangle out of there and onto a page, and then I'm able to talk about other things without this like word jumble in my brain. So I see how it
And
makes sense for that. Go ahead.
I also feel like if I could jump into that,
Mm.
sometimes you can almost like make more sense of what you're trying to communicate or trying to. So once you're in the process or you have a finished result, and you can sort of look at what you've created, say if it's visual art, maybe in your analysis or looking at it, it can kind of make more sense of what you're communicating to, I feel like.
That's true. Yeah, there's meaning behind the words that you get out,
Yeah,
or the colors that you choose, or the medium, or if you do layers, is it layered? Is it multimedia? Yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah.
such a good point. And I thought this one was so interesting. Imagines a more hopeful future. And I think that even art like my rage poems, or even art that feels bleak, like I remember going to the American Visionary Arts Museum in Baltimore, and they had this one exhibit that was people that lived in different communities for people with severe mental illness, and it was this whole exhibit on the art that their patients created. And some of it was really dark. I mean, these people had
Right.
difficult diagnoses, and the art was very, jarring and unsettling, but
Mhm.
also very eye-opening and revealing. And I can't remember honestly if it made me feel hopeful, but I think that's what they were trying to communicate in their art, that maybe in the future there is hope for me, as
Yeah.
living with this illness. Maybe as the viewer, I didn't see that, but for the artist, I think, and when you feel hopeful, obviously that improves your cognition, right? Because
Right.
feeling
Exactly.
depressed or hopeless, I mean, those are some pretty heavy emotions that can affect your daily life. So,
Yeah. And also maybe creating something that goes beyond the day to day. So,
yeah.
say if someone is like really feeling like they want more nature in their life, or maybe they
Mhm.
a change of scenery, or that's just one example, but you can create it. And then that
Yeah.
can, something beyond just the day to day, I think too.
Yeah. It gets you out of a rut, I think, too. It can
Yeah,
get you out of, you get that word jumble out, or you get out of a rut of just like the same thing all the time. Yeah. I love that.
that's really
So this
cool.
was another great quote, um, from the, I think it was the Academy of Creative Rehabilitation Medicine. I'm looking at the acronym and hoping I got that right, but it's, oh, American Congress of Rehabilitation Medicine.
Wow, good eyes.
Yeah. There's increasing evidence in rehabilitation medicine and the field of neuroscience that art enhances brain function by impacting brainwave patterns, emotions, and the nervous system. Art can also raise serotonin levels. These benefits don't just come from making art, they also occur by experiencing art. Observing art can stimulate the creation of new neural pathways and ways of thinking. And I love that too. Like,
Wow.
if you don't feel that you are an artist, although I would disagree. I think everyone has
Yes,
art
totally.
and creativity in them. But just observing art, just going to the museum,
Mm,
or looking at art online, or however you do it,
right.
can create new neural pathways. I think that's fabulous. And I don't think I realized that there was actual data about that. So
Yeah,
I love
that's
that.
really, yeah, I thought the same that it was just the creation part, not so much
Yeah,
the,
yeah. And I mean,
that's
I
so
would
cool.
love to go to a museum every week, but it's just not something
Right.
that I have made time for. And really, it's kind of
Yeah.
sad because I
And
can't remember the last time I went to one. But it's comforting that even if I could observe it,
right.
in my own way, but I definitely remember leaving a museum experience with new thoughts. So,
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I think too that the what's so nice that it's become increasingly accessible since COVID is that there's more digital and free
mhm,
access to virtual museums, which I do think there's something to say that being in person can be even more impactful. But that
sure,
there's so many great resources, and
there's
this,
options.
I can share that with the group this week too. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
yeah, please do.
yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
And so we kind of talked about these in a way. It lowers cortisol levels, reduces stress, improves focus, enter the flow state. Um,
Yeah.
Flow state is a fun place to be. Processing emotions can be cathartic. Certainly my rage poems were cathartic for me. For me.
Totally.
Improve self-understanding also was very revealing, to be like, wow, I have a lot of unexpressed until now
Right.
rage.
Yes. Yeah.
But I like how it's worded here to imagine a more hopeful future to help predict and make decisions. So
Mm.
that's interesting because I guess, if your brain is stuck, you feel stuck. So maybe
Yeah.
there's something about that where art kind of, like you were saying, opens things up
It like
and,
unlocks a little.
helps
Yeah.
you to make decisions, or predict, you know. Yeah, the predict part is interesting. I don't know what to make of that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna think about that. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
And then, yeah, fostering self-expression and great for rehabilitation. So 10 different 10 different types of art therapy. Word jumble. Um, it's not an exhaustive list. There's probably other types, but there's poetry and writing, painting and drawing, which I think is traditionally maybe what people think of,
Mm,
and
mm,
also the observing art, museum visits, virtual and in person.
mm,
Music, I mean, music therapy is sort of its own thing, but I would say it
mm,
falls under the umbrella of art too, because it's
mm,
creative expression um, but maybe making music is not, maybe not everybody would create music, but
right.
there's a form, I think, of art therapy, collage, doing collage, photography, dance, drama, sculpting and working with clay, very hands-on kind of stuff, and then visual arts. So
Yeah.
I think we both have already shared which ones we've done. Uh,
Yeah.
I always want to get more into photography, like formally, but then it is nice that our phones are so capable of taking beautiful pictures. So,
Right.
but I do find, I probably don't need a class. I'm thinking like I would love to
Mm,
take a class, and I would love to do that. But sometimes
mm.
um, when I go for a walk in the morning, I just, pick something to take pictures of. Like today, I'm
Oh,
gonna look.
that's cool.
Yeah, I do. I've done like a color scavenger hunt before, so.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and it's just really
Yeah.
fun and it helps you focus on something. And then, I haven't done anything with the pictures, but it's there and I could make like, a collage or something of all these yellow things I found in nature or whatever. So,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
that I definitely have had those. It just makes you so present when you're noticing
Mhm.
one sort of a
Right.
color or a theme.
Right.
And I'm in design school right now for interior design, but a lot of the stuff we're doing is 3D model making, and a lot of
Mhm.
it has to be inspired by something. So like nature,
Yeah.
and it's amazing when you pick a theme and you really hone in what you can see that
Oh
maybe
gosh. Yes.
we sort of pass things to get so used to things that sometimes we forget the details, and it's amazing to
Mhm.
like be so present and to really see those things. And I like that
Yeah.
color idea. That's
Yeah, I love color
cool.
and it's fun too because it's sometimes at first you think like, oh, I won't be able to find that much, it's winter. I did purples
Right, right.
and I was surprised by how much purple I found. And it doesn't all have to be
Yeah.
natural necessarily. Like sometimes there's trash.
Yeah. Paint,
Sometimes there's
yeah.
trash that's purple,
Graffiti, yeah,
but
right.
yeah, or graffiti. So yeah, you'd be surprised when you pick something, whether it's a color or a shape or what or whatever, how much kind of comes out of the woodwork when you really are present enough to look for it. So
I'm gonna try that. That's a
yeah,
really cool idea.
yeah, that would be cool. Report back.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I could share some of my previous scavenger hunt pictures with you.
Yes, please.
I
Yeah.
haven't shared them anywhere, but I could do that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
6 ways art helps those with memory loss specifically, staying connected and engaged, creating an outlet for self-expression and communication. I mean, when you can't bring the words out,
Mm,
but you
hmm.
can bring the paint out, certainly. Creating new memories. I thought that was interesting too, kind of like the new neural pathways. You can create new
Yeah,
memories,
right.
reducing anxiety and agitation, huge. Providing fresh perspectives and respite for caregivers. I mean, certainly when my daughter's art therapist was here, I was like, okay, I can go chill now.
Interesting.
Or
Yeah.
I could see what she was thinking about or not thinking about because I was really concerned. Like, how is she dealing with,
Right.
me being sick and having cancer? And sometimes
Yeah.
she would paint about it and sometimes she wouldn't. And either way, whatever she painted kind of gave me an insight or fresh perspective on where she was at mentally and emotionally. And yeah, also gave me that respite knowing she was engaged in something meaningful. So
Right. And that's like a great point. It's another way to engage with someone else,
yeah,
to if you want to share your art and talk
yeah,
about it and or make art together and then sort of
exactly.
have
It
that.
can go so many ways. Yeah. And
That's
then
awesome.
managing the complex emotions associated with memory loss, because there are many. And then if you do have a communication impairment as a result of your memory impairment, then managing those complex emotions just become even becomes even more challenging. So
So if someone wanted to sort of start some medium of art therapy, not necessarily go to a class, or they just want to kind of, they're sitting down, it's a beautiful day out, they want to try drawing something. And if you want to do something like you're working on a certain emotion or theme, would that be one way in? So maybe
yeah.
you're dealing with like grief or something, and you
Mhm.
can just say, I want to draw about my grief about this sort of topic. Would
Yeah.
that be kind of a way in? Okay, cool.
I think so. I mean, I don't want to take any work away from art therapists, and I don't want to
Sure. Yeah,
say,
yeah, we're not art therapists.
we are not art therapists. This is not a clinical, we are not
Right.
giving clinical advice.
Yes.
Obviously clinicians would have more data and more methods and evidence-based things, but yeah, I think just start where you are is
Yeah.
great. I mean, and yeah, if you wanted to do a word association, if you're kind of a word art person,
Mhm.
I love doing that when I just want to kind of be more free. I mean, I am a writer, so I have a lot of assignments that are very specific. Here are the parameters,
Mhm, mhm.
know, intro, middle, conclusion, submit, So when I need
Right.
to break out of that, sometimes I just like follow a word and where does that word lead me? So yeah, you could follow a
Cool.
word, you could follow the emotion, follow a color,
I was gonna say maybe a
what color,
color.
yeah, what color
Yeah.
describes how you're feeling right now? I mean,
Right.
I think color is so powerful and people, don't realize how powerful it can be to, say, well, green always makes me feel calm. Well, go surround yourself in green then somehow.
Yeah,
Find yourself
nature.
a
Yeah.
green blanket when you're feeling upset
Right.
or
Yes.
be in nature. But if you can't be, like, surround yourself with that color so that you're, surrounding yourself with that emotion of calmness.
Yeah, and you can visualize it too, you know?
Yeah,
You could just
exactly.
imagine a bunch of green
Yes.
around you too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I think start where you are, but certainly I think on the next slide I
Mm.
give some resources. Yeah, and I think we've already talked about how we've experienced the benefits of
Mm.
art. Is there any one of those that surprises you?
Well, I think it's really interesting that art can help create new memories. I think a
Mhm.
lot of times we talk about art therapy, or certainly when it comes to music therapy, that I've heard this, that it's great for accessing sort of long-term older memories and
Right.
childhood memories, which is
Yeah.
wonderful, but um, that's encouraging that it can fire new synapses and create
Yeah.
new memory. And it just makes me also think that in the, not that I've done sort of art therapy, but in the art classes and certain arts I've done, even from childhood, I feel like I have a very strong memory of
Mhm.
that. And I think when we're really
Yeah.
using so many of our senses and we're so present, that is a very
Totally.
impactful experience too. But
I
um,
agree. I agree.
yeah, this I think um, it just seems like something that I wish I could just, I want to do this every day now.
I know. I know.
Create art, carve out time
Yeah.
every day to do it.
Yes. Yes. Well, you can do it in small ways too, until you find the
Right.
perfect class or the perfect place. In the
Yeah,
meantime, there's just little ways that you can be creative and,
yeah,
start getting your
exactly.
brain thinking in those five senses again.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, I would agree. The new memories one was the most surprising to me, or new information, because you're right, we do focus so much on helping them, access those long-term memories, but there's benefits to creating new memories.
Yes, absolutely. And I also love that, like I said, right now I'm in school, so when
Yeah,
I create art, it gets graded, right? So you
right.
have to like follow certain criteria, but I do love being able to be in that space of just complete
Mhm,
self-expression. You don't have to
mhm.
worry about messing up. You're just
The
you
flow
could do it
state.
for other people, but you're in the flow state. You're doing it for
Yeah,
you, certainly for sure. And
yeah.
there's no right or wrong. It's beautiful. So.
Mhm. That's so
Yeah.
true. Great. Well, yeah, that's it for the
Awesome.
presentation, but here are some resources. And when we'll put the recording in the
Right.
group, but we'll also upload the file, the PowerPoint files so that you can click on the links. Um,
Yeah.
there's an article about poetry specifically, painting, something more general.
Mm.
And then the last two links would help you to find an art therapist
Cool.
locator near you. So
Oh,
but
that's
I would also
awesome.
recommend like if there's like a small museum or a small art school near you. I mean, I'm in the Lehigh Valley area near
Mm.
Allentown, Pennsylvania. There's the Banana Factory, it's called, and the Baum School of Art. And I've been on their website
Right.
lately looking to see what classes they offer. The local Y, sometimes,
Right.
like where my father-in-law used to work, sometimes the Y, there might be programs in your community that don't show up on these sites, but this is
Right.
a good place to start if you're looking for somebody who is a certified clinical
Right.
art
Yeah.
therapist, which we are not, but we
You're
are
right,
just
exactly.
caring about
But
them. So
I
yeah.
think too that sometimes if you go to a museum, or one thing that I really love going to is like touring different architecture in LA and stuff. But
Yes.
sometimes you can
Yes.
go with a group too, and it's a great way to
Yes.
connect with people,
True.
and it's
True.
really I find it to be a very relaxing experience.
Yeah.
Um I just one thought I had is I don't know if you've ever tried this poem, but I have done this with friends where you write one word or a phrase, and it can be
Mhm.
maybe one word or a phrase, and then you fold it down and you pass it to the next
Ah,
person, and they don't see it, but so it's kind of like a little fold. They
yeah.
don't see what you wrote.
Okay.
We do this with like five, six, seven people. And then at the end, it's a
Oh,
poem and it gets
I
revealed.
have
And
not.
so
It's
I
almost
have
like
to
Mad
say,
Libs.
yeah, maybe I'll share this with the group after this, but it's
Yes.
always so beautiful and
That's
amazing that
amazing.
it
Oh
somehow
yeah,
has
I would
this
love to try that.
incredible through line and theme. And you go, how did we manage that? Because you don't
Yeah,
know what the other person did. Anyway, it's a
I
really a
definitely would
fun
love to see
group
that and try that.
project. Yeah,
That's
yeah. But
that's terrific.
yeah,
Cool.
this was great, and I feel really
Yeah.
inspired, and I'm sure everyone in the group will. And yeah, so and also just if anyone in the group, has any great resource, we're gonna sh keep sharing
Yeah.
resources, and that's the theme for the week, but we'll keep revisiting this, and everyone's welcome to continue to talk about this and share with the group, and yeah,
Yeah. And if you've
thank
ever
you.
created art, whether it was art therapy art,
Yeah,
we'd love to see it.
yeah,
Post a picture in the
yeah.
group and we'll have a little mini pop-up exhibit and we can
That
observe
sounds
each
awesome.
other's
I
art.
love that idea. That's a really cool idea. Sure.
Great. Thanks,
Well,
Catherine.
thank you so
It's
much,
fun
Michelle. And
chatting
yeah,
with
this was
you.
really
And
fun.
yeah, until next time.
Awesome. Cool.